Okay, I'm gonna be honest. I really didn't think I would have to make a video about, video games in the state where it currently is in like a different country. I'll be honest. I really didn't think I would ever make a video like this. I'll be honest. I'm not really a big fan of stuff when it comes to like politics or when it comes to like lawsuits and all that stuff. Not really a big fan of those kind of videos, but if it's like game breaking at all in any form of like the community, or if it's something that's like seriously threatening, like the pandemic we're in with COVID-19, maybe I'll make a video on that. But no, today's video is actually a little bit more concerning, and it's actually a little bit serious and kind of stupid as well, at least in my opinion. So, I don't know if you guys heard, but I just got word of this yesterday from the internet, and apparently China is banning, well, not banning, I should say, excuse me, let me rephrase that. China is restricting, yeah, that's the proper word. China is restricting video games from just in general. Like what does this even mean? Like, well, I do have an article up and I'll host the article in a second, but apparently from what it used to be, apparently they said that they had it originally set down the what 1.5 hours for children and teenagers to play video games in China, and they're restricting it even more now, and probably for the sake of their own people from 18 years older and younger. And apparently, the new maximum amount of video game time is 3 hours. It was like, I think, not. I'm not mathematically sure. I think it was like something like 7.5 hours, maybe. But then they nerfed it or trimmed it down to 3.5 hours, or not 3.5, 3 hours. Excuse me, because the government is coming in and telling people, hey, children, you can't play video games too much because you could get addicted to it. And I'll be honest, video game addiction is actually a big problem. I'll be dead serious when I say this. I myself am addicted to video games. I love video games personally, but I do take it to the point where it's like, at least I'm smart enough to realize when it's good to play video games and when it's not a good time to play video games, which I'll get into that debacle later on in the video. But most of it does come down to like just parenting, and if you need to have the government intervene with your family and just tell them, hey, you can't play video games anymore because now if you play more than a certain amount of hours, it's going to be against the law and you're going to be in big trouble. Now, I didn't want to go this far in terms of like talking about it, but when it comes to the Chinese government, they're all about love and honor in their country. And it's like, if you don't say nice things about China, your credit score is going to go down. Or, hey, if you don't say anything nice about us on social media, your credit score is going to go down. Because if you have a low credit score, you won't be able to get job opportunities or you won't be able to travel in certain places because you decide to say something not nice about China. And honestly, that's just not really cool at all, and it just doesn't really make any sense in my opinion. Now, I could be wrong, and I'm missing a couple of pieces of information here about China. I could be wrong and I'm missing some things, but I digress. Anyway, but if you need to have the government intervene with your video game time, that's not really a government choice. That's just more of a family choice, which video game addiction, like I said already, it is a big problem. Now, I was talking about this with my dad actually the other day, and we both agree that video game addiction is a problem, but I will be honest, there are far more disgusting things that are worse than video game addiction. There's people addicted to alcohol, there's people addicted to porn, there's people addicted to art, there's people addicted to eating furniture, which I'll be honest, I think that's kind of disturbing. There's people addicted to eating food. There's people addicted to drugs. There's people addicted to sports like football. There's people addicted to music. There's also people addicted to working out. And the list just goes on and on. You know what I mean? But let me just say this right now. If video games had a restriction, just as like everything else, it doesn't really make any sense. Now, let me clarify what I mean by that. Let me express myself a little more. You know how the Chinese government is like turning down the amount of video games that people can play? What would happen if this applies to all the other rules as well, not just for China, but the entire planet? What would happen if they nerfed the amount of sports time people could do? Like, let's just say if people are a big football fan and you can't train enough because, oh, hey, you can only train a certain amount of times before it becomes illegal, you know? If this rule was implemented in anything else, like music or sports, it would be outrageous, you know? Like, hey, you can't watch sports for this amount of time, or you can't participate in sports this amount of time. You can't compete because if you compete more than 3 hours, it's going to be illegal and you could face some legal actions. Or, hey, you can't listen to music for a certain amount of hours because this will be legal illegal actions and it could encourage people to ignore other people. Like, it just doesn't make any sense. And it's, like I said already, not only outrageous, but it's kind of silly in my opinion. But again, I can understand that people try to at least find a way to I don't want to say cure addiction, but it's not going to go away. Addiction's like one of the biggest problems in like the entire planet, you know? Like we're going to be dealing with this kind of stuff. So, without further ado, I'm sorry for the ramble, but this is also going to be a bit of a rant as well. So buckle up, people. So this is going to be a bit of a joyride of a video. So without further ado, let me just put the article up on the screen for you right now so you can at least get an idea of what I'm trying to talk about here. China has forbidden the ages under 18 and younger from playing video games for more than 3 hours a week. A stringent social intervention that it said was needed to pull the plug on growing addiction to what was once described as a spiritual opium. Okay, like already I'm a bit confused. Like what the hell do they even mean by a spiritual opium? Is it like some kind of demonic thing? Is it something that's super evil? Like, oh my god, if they do something too long, like this is a spiritual opium, this is illegal. Like, holy crap, dude. Like I understand that video game addiction is a problem, but like I said already, there's more addictions than just video game addictions. Like there are more addiction problems that are far worse than video game addiction. The restriction, which applies to any devices, including phones, are a body blow to the global gaming industry that caters to tens of millions of young players in the world's most lucrative market, such as mobile gaming, for example. The limit under 18 years or younger to play for 1 hour a day at 8 p.m. or 9 p.m. only Fridays, Saturdays, and Sundays, according to the Xinhua State News of Agency. I don't know how to pronounce that word properly. They can also play for an hour at the same time on the public holidays, like Christmas or Halloween, for example. Okay, I will be honest here. In China's defense, at least they do want people to spend time with their families on the holidays, like if it's Christmas or Thanksgiving and all that, because, you know, Christmas, Thanksgiving, and any kind of holiday, you should spend time with your family. That part I will agree with, and I do understand that, because, you know, you want to hang out with your whole family, you want to do fun stuff together, you know? But if God forsake, if someone's sick because of COVID-19, we can't really do that. And honestly, that's going to lead into my next point here in a minute. But honestly, I can understand the holiday part because, you know, you want to spend time with the family. But, I mean, you want to at least get some form of entertainment in. If it's not just video games, then maybe you want to do some like artwork on the computer. Maybe you want to hand draw for a little bit. Or maybe you just want to do like a game board or something before a company comes over, you know? But honestly, I just don't understand the full process of it. Like, did China forget about COVID-19 and all that stuff? Because I don't know if some people are still aware about it, but the Delta variant of COVID-19 is kind of running rampant right now, and it's starting to get a little out of control. Well, I don't know how it's being handled in other parts of the world, but I know, as far as I know, the United States is at least struggling with it. And if the United States is struggling, I'm pretty sure the other parts of the world is struggling as well, you know? But China is like they just forgot about it. Like there's no big problem here. So you know what? Let's crack down on the most biggest problems here, like video game addiction. Like come on now. You got to remember, we're still in a pandemic, and I don't know if I said this before, but video games and this pandemic have been kind of like a savior for a lot of people, you know? Like you can't really go outside and do a lot of things, like go bowling or go to the movies, or you can't go hiking and all that stuff, or do big events, like running a Flutie 5K, for example. But but I mean, come on now. I mean, that stuff is still running rampant, but at least it's toned down to a point where we can leave the house. But there are some parts in the world where it is running rampant and people can't leave. So they probably just say, "You know what? Screw it. I'm going to play video games because I want to at least entertain myself, and I want to at least give myself a little bit of a stress reliever because I don't want to deal with any of this pandemic nonsense. And a lot of people have been praising video games in this time of need because, like I said, we're still in the midst of a pandemic, and there are some people that are just struggling to just get outside. And again, I can understand that. I'll be honest, I'm gonna try to make myself a little bit better myself in terms of exercise, because I mean, nobody likes to be cooped up in the house for all day. I'll be honest, even I get cooped up at times, and I just like to go for occasional walks outside. But I digress. But anyway, there is one more part to this article that I do want to go over, so I'm just going to put it back up on the screen for you guys real quick, and then I'll give my official 2 cents, or not my official, excuse me, I already said my opinion. So, my final opinion, I should say. Excuse me. Let me rephrase that. I'm going to put this article up, and then after I read you the article, I'll probably give my final opinion and thoughts on this whole situation that's going on in China. So, here's the article for you guys. Children spent on games, starting with Honor of Kings. Resident also said that it was working with regulations to explore ways in which the total amount of time minors, like children for example, spent on the game could be capped across all titles in the industry. The NPPA regular told and Xenua, again, I don't know how to say that word, it would increase the frequency and intensity of inspections for online gaming companies to ensure that they were putting placement times and anti addiction systems. It also says that parents and teachers play key roles in curb gaming addictions. Okay, so I'm gonna definitely sound like a grandpa here for a minute, but I've been gaming since I was like 2 years old, since I was like a baby, and I'm just gonna say this right now. It's like parents and teachers forgot like there's actually thing called parental controls for video game consoles, so you can limit the amount of time spent on video games. You could set it to like 3 hours, maybe 2 hours, or if they're not really doing their chores and all, or their homework, maybe limit it to like an hour a day, and then maybe when they finish all their chores, you could bring that thing back up. There's parental controls for like the bigger consoles, like the PlayStation, Xbox, Nintendo Switch. I think even PC as well. You know what I'm saying? And also, eh, like I said already, I mean, parents and teachers do have a big role in this part. I mean, most of it does really just come down to parenting. And I'm dead serious when I say this, but I know this is going to be a bit embarrassing to say, but honestly, I don't care. I'm actually very thankful for my parents raising me the way they are, because at least we realize, okay, hey, you've been spending too much time on the game, son. You need to do your homework and all that stuff. Hey, you haven't done your chores? We're taking the video games away. And guess what? I actually took that as a hard lesson. And I'll be honest, I really wasn't the best when it came to listening and doing my chores and all. But when I kind of grew up a little bit, I'm slowly realizing that it's starting to become a bit of an adult thing at this point, you know? Like you just have to do it or else it's never going to get done and it's going to be a mess and it's going to affect you later on in life. And that's kind of the lesson I kind of learned here. Like, if you don't do it now, it's going to affect you later on in life. So you better change the attitude and get it over with now, or you're going to suffer the consequences. And at the end of the day, it does mostly just come down to parenting and all. So I will admit, maybe spending too much time on Call of Duty or maybe on too much time on Minecraft is a little too much. But like I said, at the end of the day, dude, like it is just an inanimate object and it is just something that we can all just, I don't want to say avoid, but it is something we can come back to. Now, is video game addiction like the worst thing that planet Earth has ever encountered and seen? Is this the worst thing ever? Absolutely not. Because, again, there are far worse addictions than video game addictions. Like I said already, there's people addicted to drugs, people addicted to watching movies, people addicted to sports, and people are addicted to music, The list goes on and on. And let's just say if other countries in the world follow this rule, like, hey, we're setting a 3 hour limit on listening to music, or if we're setting a 3 hour or limit on movies, and if you exceed those limits, you're gonna get in trouble with the law. Like, people would be livid, like, pissed, angry. Nobody would be happy. Like, this is just really stupid and all, Because let's just say, for example, like, hey, you're not listening to music too long because if you listen to it for more than 3 hours, we're gonna take it away because music encourages people to ignore other people, or hey, you've been watching Netflix too long, so we're gonna have to shut down your cable network because you haven't been getting exercise. Like, it just doesn't make any sense. Like, I'm just gonna say this right now. I would be livid myself, and I would honestly not survive if I was living under these kind of circumstances. Like, I would be furious, and I would probably move to a different part of the world if I have to. But I'm not, because I'm glad I was raised in the U.S. and all that stuff, But is China a bad country? I don't want to say yes and no because, again, I'm not really into politics. All I'm just trying to say is China is a completely different world over there, and we just all got to be careful. You know what I'm saying? But you know, and there is one more thing I do want to say, and I think I already brought it up, but parenting and teaching does come down to like a big role and all. But again, the government should not have control over your children. Let the parents do their job and parent their kids. Like I brought up already, like, hey, if little Billy isn't doing his chores, take the video games away. If little Billy isn't spending time with the family on Christmas Eve, take the video games away. Or if little Billy is failing at school, take the video games away. If little Billy is not listening and he's being naughty, take the video games away. You know, it just comes down to common sense and it's just simple parenting rules. Like, we don't need the goddamn government coming down our throat to teaching our kids, That's the parents' job. And if the government has to step in and parent the kids for them, then it kind of just says that pe people who parent fail at parenting, Again, I'm not saying people who are parents are bad. I'm just saying that people who are doing their job as a parent leave the parenting stuff to the parents. Like, we don't need the government to parent our children for them, That's what we have parents for. And I'm very thankful that my parents raised me the way they are, But I digress. Anyway, I'm just very worried because at the end of the day, it's just another nonsense topic that people are worried about, and they're worried over nothing. Like, there are far worse addictions than video game addiction, which, again, I strongly agree that video game addiction is a problem. I agree on that myself, and I'm addicted to video games. And I will admit, even video game addiction is a problem, and I'm addicted to video games, but at least I can realize it when there's a time to play video games and when there's a time to stop playing video games. Like if you're driving, for example, that's a bad time to play video games. Or if you're on a hot date with a lovely girl, that's a very bad time to play video games. Or if you are at a prom with some of your best friends or with a hot date, that's a bad time to play video games. You know what I'm saying? Just that's just some examples that I brought up. And at least for someone who's addicted to video games like myself, at least I can realize the consequences that it will have if I don't step away from the games, you know? And again, some of this does affect people when it comes to like work and school. So again, I can understand from that perspective because you want your kids to go to school and learn, and you want to go to your job and you want to get paid for what you do. You know what I'm saying? Now, honestly, at the end of the day, this is just another nonsense topic that the internet is just riling up over. And honestly, I just don't know how to feel about this. I could say that I feel bad for some of the children in China because they don't get to have fun like a lot of other people do, but again, I'm not really the parent, so I really wouldn't know, and I'm not the Chinese government, so I really wouldn't know. You know what I'm saying? But I will say I am getting very worried for some people in China, you know? Anyway, you guys, thank you all for listening. I know this is a bit longer than normal, well, but I'll be honest, I didn't really expect to make a video this long, but I just do these kind of videos for podcasts and all, and this was a topic that has been really, really spicing up the internet, so I just wanted to give my opinion and put my 2 cents on it and let you know what I think about it. And at the end of the day, it's just the parents' job. We don't need the government to teach our kids what to do. We just have our parents do that for us. That's what the parents are for. And if we don't have parental controls on our console, I mean, that's literally what we have parents for, so they can set parental controls on our consoles. You know what I'm saying? But anyway, you guys, until next time, I'm starting to worry for some of the gamers in China, and I'll see you all later.